Hey there, second grade. Today we are starting chapter 11. And so we're going to be starting on page 645. So if you turn in your books with me right now, this entire chapter is going to be about measurement. And so we're going to be measuring different things in this chapter. So today we're going to be starting off talking a little bit about inches. All right, so we're going to start on page 645. As you turn there, I'm going to go ahead and explain to you how to use a ruler, and when we're looking at a ruler, which side is inches. All right, when we are talking about inches, I've got two different types of rulers here. All right, one is right here. Now this just has inches, okay? So inches go all the way along here, and on a ruler, it goes all the way up to 12. All right. On this one, it's a little bit different. It still has our all the way up to 12, but you might notice the other side has a lot more numbers that are on the other side. And this is something we'll talk about later. But for today, we're going to be talking about inches, all right? And inches are a little bit bigger. Now, the other thing that's different about these two is that this one right here starts at 0. So when I'm measuring, I'm going to start right here because that's where our 0 starts. But when I look over here at this one, you might notice that there's a little bit of space. So when I start measuring using this ruler, I don't want to go all the way to the end. I need to start at that point right there. That's my 0. All right, so we're going to be using our wooden one today. All right, now that we've got that down, we're going to turn to the next page. So we're going to start off on page 646. All right, 646 says 1 inch is about the length of one color tile. You can use what you know about inches to estimate the length of an object. Then use an inch ruler to measure the length. So if you take a look here, they're giving us a helpful hint. The estimate, the length is about 3 inches of a glue stick. So when you think about a glue stick, you know that it's about 3 inches. One of the things that helps me is when I look at the cap, it's a little bit smaller than an inch. So if you think about a glue stick, it's a little bit smaller. But go ahead, grab your pencil so you can follow along with me today. So we're going to be filling some things in. So it says the glue stick is 3 inches long. All right. And the reason that we know that is we start at 0 and then go to 1, 2, and then it's just a little short of 3, but it's about 3 inches long. So that's how we can figure that out. Now, in just a second, we're going to get started on number 1. And on the screen here, it's going to pop open. I'm going to be measuring these different parts, and we're going to be doing it. So unfortunately, it's going to be kind of hard for us to estimate today. But instead, we'll just kind of take a look at how to measure these different objects. So for number 1, we're going to start off with, I didn't have any chalk, but I had a box of crayons. So we're going to measure a box of crayons, and we're going to go ahead and take a look and see where that's at. So here's my box of crayons. And I'm bringing my ruler over, lining up with that 0, and it looks like all the way on the end is going to be 3. So it looks like it's about 3 inches long, all right? And again, go ahead and fill this out with me because we're going to be answering these different parts. All right. Now, the next one is going to be a lunchbox. And I didn't have a lunchbox that looked exactly like this, but I had a little bit of a different one. And so for this one, we're going to go ahead and same thing. We're going to just take a look and see what we measured it to be. So here's my lunchbox. We're going to measure across the bottom. I bring my ruler over. And as we go across, this one's a little tricky because it looks like we're right in the middle of 7 and 8. 7 and 8. And so I usually like to go up to the next one. So if it's in between 7 and 8, I go up to 8. So we're going to put it was about 8 inches long. All right, so that's how we're going to measure that first part. All right, next up, we're going to be on page 647, and we've got a few more things that we're going to measure today. So when we take a look, we've got a shoe. So I borrowed one of the shoes from our class, and we're going to go ahead and measure it. So we bring the ruler over, again, making sure we line up with the 0, not just the end. Come all the way over, and it looks like we are in between 9 and 10, but it looks like it is closer to 9. So for our shoe, we are going to put 9 as our measurement. So we're going to put a 9 for our measurement. All right, next up is a pair of scissors. So I grabbed some of the scissors. Again, we're going to bring it over, make sure we line up the end with that first mark, not just the end of the ruler. We're going to go all the way over, and it's not quite there, but it is really close to a 7. It looks like it's very close to 7. So I think what we're going to do is put a 7 for our inches, because this is a 7-inch scissors. All right. My next one is a paintbrush. All right, so when I bring the ruler over, again, lining it up, coming over and checking it out, what does it look like to you? What do you think we're going to measure this one at? When I take a look at that paintbrush, it looks like, once again, we are right at that 7. So my paintbrush and my scissors were about the same. All right. 2 more left. So my next one is going to be this piece of paper. And so this one's going to be a little tricky because it's a little zoomed out. But line up with the 0 going all the way over. And where does that one stop? Well, it goes past the 10 and all the way over to 11. It's about 11 inches long. All right, and then my last one, this was the trickiest of all. So when we take a look at my desk, because it's just a normal desk, I actually need 2 rulers for this one because it's so large. So I'm going to put down the white ruler, and I'm measuring that entire thing. And then when I put my next one on it, I got to line up my 0. And when I do that, I can now take a look all the way over at the end, and it looks like it goes all the way over to that one. So for this measurement was not just one 12-inch ruler. It was actually 2 12-inch rulers. So on my screen here, I'm going to write that out. So I had 12 inches because that was the first one. And then I need to add another ruler, which is another 12 inches. All right. So I have 12 plus 12. Well, and I add my ones places together. So I've got 2 plus 2. Well, 2 plus 2 is 4. And then I'm going to add my tens place. So I've got 1 plus 1 is 2. Ooh, that's a terrible 2. Sorry. 2. So we ended up with 24 inches. All right. It's a little tricky. But when we use 2 rulers, that's what we do is we add the inches together. All right. I've got 2 more problems that I want you to try out today. All right. I want you to try number 8, and then I want you to try number 9. All right. And these are a little bit trickier, and we got to figure them out. So for number 8, it says Kaya's surfboard must be at least 15 inches longer than 48 inches. Should Kaya choose a surfboard that is 55 inches long or 65 inches long? All right, I'm going to zoom in on this one so we can do some writing on the screen here. And so for this one, we've got to figure that out. So it needs to be at least, that means it needs to be bigger than 15 inches and 48 inches. All right, and I'm giving you that clue right there because we need to take our 48 and add 15. All right, so 8 plus 5. Well, if I start at 8 and go up 5 more times, it's going to be 13. So I have my 3 here and carry my 1. 1 plus 4 is 5. 5 plus 1 is 6. So it needs to be at least 63 inches. All right. So should he choose a 55-inch or 65 inches? Well, if it needs to be at least, that means this is the smallest amount that it can be is 63. Well, 55 is smaller than that, so I can't choose that one. So I need to choose 65 inches long. All right, so we had to make it 65 inches long. For number 9, I'm gonna read it to you, and then I'm gonna ask you to try this one on your own. It says Owen's foot is 6 inches long. His dad's foot is 6 inches longer than Owen's. How long is his dad's foot? So I want you to pause right now, try this one out on your own. And if you're like me, I like to draw a picture. So I'm going to draw, here's Owen's foot, and then here's his dad's foot. All right. And so go ahead. This is 6 inches, and this is 6 inches. How would we solve this? Pause it right now, and then check your work. All right, I hope you checked your work. I drew my picture here. We've got Owen's foot is the smaller one. His dad is the bigger one. And so to solve this problem, I'm going to need to take Owen's 6 inches and then add the 6 inches that his dad's foot is. So then I can figure out, well, what's 6 plus 6? Well, it is 12. So it is 12 inches long. All right, for this chapter, because we are going to be doing this a little bit different, because we don't have rulers and because we're not here in class, you do not have to do the homework for this chapter. If you've got a ruler and you want to try it out, you are more than welcome to. However, we're not going to tell you to do homework at the end of each lesson, just because we just want to make sure that this is just something that you're getting exposed to and you're figuring out and seeing how we do these different parts. So thanks so much for working with me today, second grade.